Hope. The belief that something you want will happen, something you wish for. She has really high hopes for the future. He's our best hope for success. There is slight hope that things will get better. You need to have realistic hopes. Don't give her false hope. The change gave him fresh hope. College is a distant hope. The team has championship hopes. She was his last hope. The children are full of hope for the future. We have little hope for success. He expressed hope that the project would succeed. He found hope in the new treatment. She is clinging to one last hope. I haven't abandoned hope yet. The announcement brought hope to the community. The storm crushed her hope for a nice weekend. He carries the hopes of the entire nation on his shoulders. He represents our best hope for a win. I think the situation is beyond hope. They are full of hope for a cure. This plan has no hope of success. They are full of hope for a cure.
Hope. To want or desire something to happen. He desperately hoped she would come home. She only hopes for one thing. He secretly hoped she was right. I began to hope for change. We dared to hope that he would succeed. We are hoping for a boy.
Ice. Frozen water. The thick ice is hard to break. Don't skate on thin ice. The melting ice is making a puddle of water. I like crushed ice in my drink. The ice was starting to melt in the warm room. Ice formed on the lake. Can I have a glass of ice water? The ice cubes are in the freezer. Let's go ice skating tomorrow. Let's go to the ice rink tomorrow. Do you like to watch ice hockey? That is an amazing ice sculpture. They are skating on the ice.
Lift. To raise something to a higher position. To remove a rule or restriction. She carefully lifted her baby out of the crib. He almost lifted her off the ground. The government completely lifted all restrictions. The curfew was partially lifted. I could barely lift the heavy table. He tried to lift the car off the ground. The TV was too heavy to lift. The government decided to lift the ban. They voted to lift the smoking ban. He lifted the weights above his head. I feel like a heavy weight has been lifted off my shoulders. She lifted the baby out of the crib. Mix. To combine. It took a long time to mix the paint. We mixed the ingredients together. Can I mix you a drink? Combine the ingredients and mix well. Mix in the wet ingredients. Mix the milk with the eggs.
Mix. A combination. The cake mix contains peanuts. The album includes a mix of slow and fast songs. The students created a mix of different pictures in the mural. Vodka and beer make a powerful mix. It has the right mix of sweet and salty ingredients. There's a healthy mix of fruits and vegetables in the buffet. The two people made an odd mix. What a vibrant mix of colors. The school has a great ethnic mix of students. I bought a pancake mix. I figured out the right mix of flavors. Network. A system of lines or wires connected to each other. a group of people that are closely connected that share information and other resources. We are expanding our network. He joined the network. He is a network administrator. The network connection is bad. I only watch this cable network. I am in the same national network. Which mobile network do you use? We are part of his social network. We have a large network. The network of social media is expanding. He is in our network. We could not share information over the network.
North. One of the 4 directions on a compass. The direction that is on your right when you watch the sun set. Let's meet at the north entrance. The north wind is blowing. It's located in the north wing. We could see the North Star. How cold is it at the North Pole?
North. Opposite of south. They traveled north.
Office. A political position, a place to do work. I called the office. She manages the office. The office opens at 8. He arrived at the office late. He resigned from office. She ran for office last year. He was appointed to office by the president. I got an office job. The office staff is very helpful. What are the office hours? I don't get involved in office politics. I like doing office work. He is an office worker. We need new office computers. He works at the central office. She manages a busy office. I went to the dentist's office. She used to hold an important office. He holds government office. He runs a sales office. She has a huge office. I will see you at the office. He still has 2 more years in office.
Overall. Including everything or everyone, in total. His overall fitness is great. The overall experience was fine. The overall majority agrees. What has been the overall change?
Overall. With everything included. Overall, she's a very nice person. We did well overall. Overall, we really didn't do that bad. Overall, the event was a success. Population. The total number of people who live in a particular place. A group of people. We had a population explosion in the 1950s. There has been a slow population decline in this area. Some countries use population control. The population census comes every 10 years. What is causing such a population change in this region? The city is studying population size. We do not have accurate population data. World population is growing at a fast rate. The student population is on the rise. Our city has a growing population. What is the overall population here? We have a larger female population. We are concerned for the general population. World population is currently at 7 billion. World population has reached 7 billion. Our population doubled. The population of my town is small.
President, the leader of a nation or organization. We voted for him for president. They tried to impeach the president. A new president will be sworn in. The President vetoed the bill. The President declared war. The President has resigned. The Cabinet advises the President. George Washington was the first President of the U.S. Who is the Vice President? She is the former President of the organization. He is the President of our country. She is running for President.
Private. Belonging to or meant only for a particular person or group and not to be shared with others. Not public. We requested private accommodations during our trip. Please send it to my private address. Please call me on my private telephone line. They hired a private investigator to find their son. He has a private airplane. She performed for a private audience. He showed us his private collection of artwork. I did not want to interrupt their private conversation. They believe private school is the best. My doctor opened a private practice.
Realize. To understand. To become aware of something. To achieve something. I failed to realize what was happening. The accident made me realize how much I love him. You don't seem to realize what is going on. I finally realized the truth of the situation. He realized his ambition. He soon realized his mistake. She slowly realized what was happening. I didn't realize it at first. I realize now that I was wrong. She never realized how much she missed him. Responsible. To have a duty of taking care of someone or something. Trustworthy. Being the cause of something. I am holding her responsible. I feel responsible for what happened. I hired our babysitter because she is very responsible. He is becoming a very responsible young man. He is a responsible person. I'm not legally responsible for them. She is completely responsible for the project's failure. We are all equally responsible for what happened. He is not entirely responsible for the incident. He was solely responsible for the accident. She is a very responsible student. Our son has become financially responsible after getting his first job. I'm not responsible for her actions. They are very responsible with their money.
Separate. Not joined or connected. Meals are separate from the hotel package. The bride and groom will remain separate until the wedding. Boys are kept separate from the girls at camp. I kept my two businesses somewhat separate. The drinking water is kept entirely separate from the wastewater. They may be physically separate, but they are together emotionally. They live apparently separate lives.
Separate. To keep things apart. To divide something. To not live together anymore. Please carefully separate the wood into 2 piles. Sometimes you cannot easily separate work and home. The couple has decided to legally separate. She recently separated from her husband of 30 years. Mike attempted to separate the 2 men. They have decided to separate after all these years. The boys will be separated from the girls. I separated the items into 4 piles.
Square. A shape with 4 equal sides and 4 90-degree angles. An open space in a town. The fabric was cut into neat squares to make a quilt. A debate will be held at the main square. She tried to cut the brownies into neat squares. A huge crowd filled the town square. we made plans to gather at the market square. We saw a large crowd in the main square.
Square. Having 4 equal sides and 4 90-degree angles. The box is not perfectly square. The picture frame looks square. He has a square build. It has a square shape. It has square corners. He has somewhat of a square face.
Stop. To come to an end. To put an end to something. As I was driving home, my car suddenly stopped. Laughter stopped momentarily. She never stops talking about her children. He could not stop smiling. She tried to stop laughing. We have to stop making excuses. I didn't want to stop eating this pie. When is the rain going to stop? You can't stop me from going to the party. The car stopped in front of my house. The clock stopped because it ran out of battery. They stopped their conversation when I walked in the room. The elevator stopped on the 10th floor. I hope the pain stops.
Stop. The act of making something come to an end. We made a brief stop in San Francisco. The train made an emergency stop. We had to take several bathroom stops on our trip. The police arrested a drunk driver during a traffic stop. We made a stop in Los Angeles. He accidentally ran a stop sign. We stopped for a quick lunch. We will make a stop at the next exit.
Teach. To explain something to help someone learn. She will teach math effectively. Foreign languages are commonly taught in schools today. He will teach science in the fall. She teaches yoga. He will teach about his experiences. She teaches math to 7th graders.
Unit. A single thing that is part of a group. There is an empty unit in the building. They live in a large unit. Family is the basic unit of society. The large building was divided into single units. She is in the intensive care unit at the hospital. The building is divided into individual units. They rented a storage unit. He lives in a small apartment unit.
Western, having to do with the direction where the sun sets. We are studying Western civilization. That country is our Western ally. We live in the Western Hemisphere. I live in the Western district of the city.
Alone. Without anyone else. Please leave me alone. She feels alone at school. I like to sit alone. I feel completely alone. I would like to be alone with my family. She will be all alone for her birthday.
Attempt. The act of trying to do something. Her successful attempt at going back to school inspired many people. We were sad about our failed attempt at marriage. He's making a deliberate attempt to learn a new language. It was a brave attempt to climb the mountain. He made a desperate attempt to find a date at the last minute. The police were warned of an assassination attempt. She made repeated attempts to quit smoking. He made another attempt at asking her out to dinner. He abandoned his attempt at swimming the English Channel. She succeeded in her attempt to qualify for the Olympics. He made an attempt at baking his first cake. The attempts by the firefighters were successful.
Attempt. To try something. The actor attempted a comeback. The criminal attempted an escape. The police are attempting a dangerous rescue. The daredevil attempted a dangerous stunt. She attempted suicide.
Category: a type or group of people or things with common features. Business is a broad category of occupation. Books are divided in the library into narrow categories. Everyone was put into one category. These voters are put into age categories. Wrestlers were put into weight categories. This is an important category. Our school belongs in the category of best colleges. They formed a category for best new artist. Scientists create new categories for certain discoveries. This category consists of all people with low incomes. She won an award in the Best Singer category. There is a separate category for senior citizens. They were put in the category of highest paid employees.
Cigarette. A roll of paper filled with tobacco used for smoking. A lighted cigarette caused the fire. He prefers unfiltered cigarettes. Do you smoke cigarettes? He lit a cigarette before speaking. She rolls her own cigarettes. Can I borrow a cigarette? He flicked his cigarette into the street before entering the building. I hate cigarette smoke. There were cigarette ashes on the ground. I lost my cigarette lighter. Cigarette smoking has gone down. Cigarette advertisements are not allowed on TV. He works for a cigarette company. I need a cigarette break. I need to buy a pack of cigarettes. Concern. A feeling of worry. The storm caused growing concern. She has genuine concern for her friends. He has great concerns about his future. Affordable health care is a national concern. The flu epidemic is causing general concern. Child safety is a common concern for parents. What is your main concern? I feel concern for my brother's well-being. She does not show any concern for her family. The earthquake caused concern. I understand your concerns. How can I ease your concerns about driving? We gave him money out of concern. Parents have valid concerns about their children. I have serious concerns for her safety.
Concern. To involve or affect someone. To worry someone. The letter directly concerns you. The issue mainly concerns Jack. Your health really concerns me.
Contain. To hold or have something inside of it. To keep something from spreading. The bag contains fruit. The envelope contains documents. The documents contain information. The meat contains protein. Doctors were able to contain the virus.
Context. The situation that helps with understanding its meaning. Take a look at the broad context. Use words in the correct context. It is only done in a certain context. The movie was made in a modern context. It is easier to understand in its present context. It was handled in a business context. Can you give the proper context of the book? It's important to create the right context for teaching. My words were taken out of context. Try to understand the words in context. It is easier to understand within the context of the story.
Cute. Pretty or good looking. She is a cute baby. They are a cute couple. He is a cute guy. The woman has a cute face. The puppy is so cute. I hate to say this, but the baby is not very cute. Her son is extremely cute.
Date. A specific day, month, and year. A scheduled meeting with a person. I would like the earlier date. Do you need an exact date? The closing date is soon. Do you know their arrival date? What is your anniversary date? The sell-by date is on the back. The cutoff date is the end of this month. What is today's date? I have a dinner date today. Our first date went well. We need to agree on a date for the wedding. They will announce the date soon. Let's have a lunch date. Make sure to check the date on the package. Can we change the date of the party? I need to find a date for the party. She broke a date with him. They will not take applications after that date. She has an event on this date. The project must be completed by the set date. I need a date for the party. He is on a date. The girl has a date with her boyfriend.
Date. To have a romantic relationship with someone. To decide when something was made or existed. Friends often date each other. Archaeologists try to accurately date their discoveries.
Effect. The result of something happening. The sound in film or theater to make something look real. The main effect of studying more is better grades. After-school tutors had a strong effect on test scores. Punishing the students had minimal effect on their behavior. Smoking has a harmful effect on your health. His argument had the opposite effect on them. This plan will have a lasting effect on the community. The music had a calming effect on the babies. This chemical has a toxic effect on the environment. The overall effect of the scene was sad. The filming location created a dramatic effect. The movie didn't have the desired effect on the audience. She turned off the lights for maximum effect. The special effects in this movie were excellent. This medicine has a calming effect. The aspirin took effect quickly. My teacher explained the effects of not studying. You may feel strong effects from this medicine. She slowly recovered from the effects of the accident. The scientists studied the effects of a bad diet. There is no way to avoid the negative side effects of this medicine. The effects of the disaster occurred quickly. The effect of this medicine differs greatly. The effects of this illness may last a long time. Laughter spoiled the intended effect. The rain had a positive effect on the harvest. She paused for a dramatic effect.
Effect. To make something happen. The students effected change in the school's policy. Scientists are hoping to effect a cure for cancer one day.
Extremely. Very. To a great degree or amount. She was extremely confused by his actions. He found the students' behavior extremely bad. They thought the movie was extremely boring. Our teacher is extremely patient. The movie star is extremely handsome. This story is extremely interesting. She thinks her homework is extremely difficult. He tried to make the material extremely easy to understand. That group is extremely dangerous. The weather is extremely cold today. The situation was extremely embarrassing. This item is extremely fragile. This test is extremely important. He feels extremely nervous before a test. Her children are always extremely happy. The new policy has been extremely effective. He is extremely doubtful that a change will happen. The new equipment is extremely expensive. Their trip was extremely tiring. He is an extremely tall man. It is extremely dark in this room. That was an extremely emotional ending. This is an extremely common item. They were extremely frightened by the noise outside. Familiar, well-known, easily recognized, having a good knowledge of something. This place is very familiar. Her voice sounds very familiar. We are becoming familiar with the new neighborhood. She seems familiar with this topic. This situation is extremely familiar. I'm becoming extremely familiar with the subject. The subject is familiar enough to me. The application process is already familiar. This place is strangely familiar. Their failure is all too familiar. I need to be thoroughly familiar with this process. Her face seems rather familiar to me. Her familiar aches were bothering her again. He told a familiar tale to the children. She gave a familiar example of the problem. We're facing a familiar dilemma. We're no longer in familiar territory. She tried to remember a familiar landmark. A familiar figure appeared in front of her. There was a familiar odor in the room. She has a familiar face. A familiar pattern is emerging here.
Finally. At the end, at last, after a long time. Dinner is finally ready. They finally abandoned their plan. We finally arrived at our destination. They finally surrendered. The wound finally healed. I finally understand his point. The storm finally ceased. He finally replaced the light bulbs. They finally resolved their differences. She finally said what she meant. I finally finished the project. They finally released the movie. Fly. A small insect with 2 wings, the opening on a pair of pants that covers the zipper or buttons. He swatted the fly. The fruit is attracting flies. He is great at catching flies. A huge fly buzzed around the room. A fly landed on her plate. I can't button my fly with a broken finger. You need to kill the fly larvae before they hatch. She bought a fly swatter. They use fly paper in the kitchen.
Fly. To move or travel through the air. Control something in the air. The birds flew low over the yard. The helicopter flew around the house. The pigeons flew off the roof. Birds flew out of the cave. They will fly back for Christmas. We watched airplanes flying above the city. He flies airplanes. They flew a route between Chicago and New York. We're going to fly kites in the afternoon. They always flew the flag on the 4th of July. Bullets flew in every direction. Mosquitoes flew around the garden. A bird flew up to the roof. They watched an eagle fly by.
Follow. Go behind someone. To come after someone. To happen after. To happen as a result. To accept instructions or advice. To understand. His teammates followed closely behind. She reluctantly followed him through the dark halls. The dog obediently followed her. They silently followed their teacher out of the room. More details will follow soon. The disaster was immediately followed by chaos. He naturally followed in his father's footsteps. Please follow the directions carefully. She beckoned them to follow her. Students are expected to follow these rules. Consequences will follow. Silence followed her announcement. The path was easy to follow. Her gaze followed him around the room. They are trying to follow the agenda. It is difficult to follow these plans. I really can't follow his reasoning. He follows the same routine every day. Her parents encourage her to follow her dreams. I'm trying to follow his lead. You need to follow the law. They try to follow local customs. She followed the recipe exactly. It isn't hard to follow this map. Helpful. Making things easier for someone. His advice proved helpful. I considered them very helpful. She has been extremely helpful. The study guide was incredibly helpful. The salesperson was not at all helpful. She was genuinely helpful. This treatment is potentially helpful. This information would be helpful for new students. He gave me some helpful advice. I made myself a helpful reminder. This is helpful information. We had a helpful discussion.
Introduction. The act of making someone known or of making something of use for the first time. He began his speech with a brief introduction. The documentary was an excellent introduction to Roman history. The book provides a comprehensive introduction to his writings. The company delayed the introduction of the new drug. He wrote an introduction to his collection of poems. Let's skip the introductions and get to work. He made a brief introduction before announcing his name. He mentioned his father in the introduction. The introduction to her latest book was touching. Link. A connection between two things or situations. There is a close link between poor nutrition and diseases. Nurses provide a vital link between doctors and patients. The police were trying to find the missing link in the case. They found a possible link between the two cases. The company is trying to build a strong link with the manufacturer. Studies highlight the link between diet and diseases. A close link exists between music and the visual arts. We found the link between the two cases. He was the weakest link in the team. She always had a strong link with children.
Link. To connect. He was closely linked to a local gang. She was indirectly linked to a political party. He is intimately linked to his ex-wife. It was discovered that she was closely linked to the rival team. The police think she is linked to the murder. They linked arms as they walked into the room. The bridge links the two towns.
Official. Relating to someone in authority. We got official recognition. What are the official rules? There was an official declaration. What is the official language of the country? We have official business here. What is their official position? Did you see the official record?
Official. Someone who has authority in an organization. He is a senior official. He tried to bribe a government official. He was appointed a state official.
Opportunity. A chance. The new governor is trying to create opportunities for unemployed people. You should seize this opportunity. Don't pass up the opportunity to travel overseas. I missed the opportunity of a lifetime. The opportunity presented itself. He gave me the opportunity to go to college. This new job presented an opportunity for me. I saw an opportunity there. I got an opportunity to go back to school. An opportunity exists there. This is a good opportunity for you. We stopped for a photo opportunity. We want equal opportunities for workers. We have some new opportunities to research. I regret all of those lost opportunities. We have a growth opportunity here. This is a great opportunity for you.
Perfect. Having no mistakes. Completely correct. Dinner was absolutely perfect. His test scores are far from perfect. Her test scores are almost perfect. His teeth looked too perfect to be real. She continued to style her already perfect hair. The holiday decorations are perfect. Practice makes perfect. She is perfect for him. Wine is the perfect accompaniment to dinner. He can shoot with perfect accuracy. She was not arrested because she had the perfect alibi. Her son is a perfect angel. He gave the perfect answer to the trick question. She maintains a perfect balance at work and home. She has the perfect body. She is the perfect candidate for the job. The dish was a perfect blend of 2 spices. The used car is in perfect condition. They made a perfect couple. She gave the police a perfect description of the thief. It was the perfect ending to a great story. It was the perfect time to leave. It was perfect timing when they arrived. There would be no war in a perfect world.
Perfect. To make something without mistakes. To make something completely correct. He needs to perfect his craft.
Performance. A public show, how well something works. We saw a great performance last night. The circus gave an amazing performance. The performance went well. His illness affected his performance. How can we improve our performance? How do you measure performance? I know of a great performance venue for your show. It is hard to make a living as a performance artist. Performance art can be seen more commonly in big cities. We need a performance boost. We met our performance goal. The company gives out performance bonuses. They received a low performance rating. They gave an excellent performance. The ballerina gave a strong performance. The band gave a disappointing performance tonight. We watched her solo performance. The athletes were at peak performance. Her improved performance at work resulted in a pay raise. The actor's performance as Hamlet was excellent. Her performance in the play was great. His performance on stage has ended. That was a great performance from the orchestra. The second night of the performance was a success.
Post. A long piece of wood or metal used to support something. Mail. A place where someone is on duty. A piece of writing. The guard was dismissed from his post. He is standing at his post. She left her post. The post office is closed today. The ball hit the goal post. The wooden posts are holding up the roof. You should alert the command post. There is an army post down the road. He is standing at his post.
Post. To put up a notice or announcement. I posted an ad online. She posted her resume. He posted bail yesterday. He posted a notice on the bulletin board. She posted an announcement on the bulletin board.
Recent. Happening or done a short time ago. It is a fairly recent development. It is a pretty recent finding. There was a recent outbreak of the flu. She is a recent graduate. Recent findings have changed our views. I bought a recent edition of her book. I haven't seen anything like that in recent years. He made a recent appearance. The building has gone through recent improvements. People have been talking about the recent scandal.
Refer. To go to someone or something for information. To mention someone or something. To send someone to someone else for further information or help. He referred his patient to a specialist. She was referred to a specialist. He usually refers to the textbook for more information. He never refers to his girlfriend as his fiancée. This tree is commonly referred to as a poplar tree. She jokingly refers to me as her little sister. He directly referred to him as an awful person. She referred to him as the funny uncle.
Solve. To find an answer to a problem or a difficult situation. The puzzle has been completely solved. Your idea doesn't really solve the problem. How can we magically solve this issue? The problem was eventually solved. That mystery will never be solved. Everyone was trying to solve the math problem. The teacher gave hints to help us solve the riddle. Her plans failed to solve the communication issues. We can solve this problem by discussing the issues together. The problem cannot be solved with constant interruptions. The problem cannot be solved without your help. Star. A small point of light in the night sky. A person in the leading role of a movie or show. Someone who has great skills in an activity. We saw countless bright stars tonight. He studied nearby stars with his telescope. I was surprised to see a falling star. There were a few big movie stars at the party. After his first movie, he became a true star. She was a basketball star in her school. We like looking up at the stars. Many stars appeared in the sky. That movie made him a star. She's trying to maintain her star quality. He was the star athlete in college. He is the star witness of the murder case. She is the star attraction at every event. We danced under the stars. She was the star of the show.
Star. To have the leading role in a movie, television show, or play. She starred in countless films in her acting career.
Voice. Sounds made when speaking or singing. She has a beautiful voice. His loud voice scares the children. The cartoon character has a squeaky voice. It's nice to hear a friendly voice on the phone. She kept a calm voice during the accident. He has a funny voice. We could hear a female voice inside the house. She has a beautiful singing voice. I can hear your voice from the other room. The teacher raised her voice in anger. His voice echoed in the tunnel. His voice faded as he walked away. His voice was cracking as he was giving his farewell speech. Do you know that voice? I need to check my voicemail several times a day. The computer system uses voice recognition for added security. He is a voice coach. She is taking voice lessons. There was anger in his voice.
Voice. To speak. He angrily voiced his opinion at the meeting. She happily voiced her excitement about the party. She voiced her opinion about the situation. He voiced his anger.